I hate to admit it, I am a terrible gamer. So in light of my recent findings, I feel that it is time for a change and actually get better at playing Tears of the Kingdom. And what better way than to do a speed run, but not just any speed run. A speed run a sucky gamer like me can do, dying in as many ways possible in Tears of the Kingdom. Finally, something that I am good at. Now that I have a goal in place, it is imperative for me to set up some basic guidelines. After some very careful deliberation of about 2 minutes, I've come up with the optimal time limit for this speed run. 1,269 seconds, 21 minutes and 15 seconds. Why this amount of time, you might ask? Because it's my speed run and I can do what I want, and it definitely has nothing to do with the numbers and shut up, don't ask questions, stop, idiot, stupid, dumb. As far as rules, this is an anything goes speed run. I can use saves, and as long as Link dies in a slightly different way each time, it is counted towards the total. Like most speedruns, loading screens are not counted towards the timer. And the last most important rule, there is one fast travel allowed during the speedrun, although there is a penalty tacked on to using it. The timer will not pause for this fast travel. So with all these guidelines out of the way, let's just jump straight to it. The spot I have chosen for a starting point is the Lindor Skyview Tower, and the second I leave this menu, after saving, the speed run will start. As soon as I hit save, all right, we're hitting save, and as soon as I exit this menu, we're going straight for it. All right, ready? Hopefully my timer works. Start the speed run. I'm not even going to show you that because it was a failure. Actually, I'm not going to show you the second or the third run. Although I did fully complete the run on my third try, I made some massive errors like this one. Okay, there we go. Timer for Gloom. We're 20 seconds ahead. Okay, that's better. Oh no, I forgot to save. No, damn it. Oh, frick, Jerry. Oh, I'm so stupid. So after about 11 more tries, I finally had a decent run and ended up with 21 deaths in 21 minutes and 15 seconds. To me, this was pathetic. A toddler could have done a better job. After a few more attempts, I realized just how inefficient the route I had pathed out was. Everything was taking way too long, from too much running to certain deaths not working, and for the life of me, I could not get the Gloom hands to spawn in the location they are supposed to. So I decided to change my strategy. I spent roughly 6 hours figuring out a new route opportunity and found a location that was prime territory for this type of speedrun. The Joju Shrine in the Faron region, just above the horse stable. I could not have asked for a better location. In the span of 5 minutes, there is a plethora of opportunities for Link to perish. The first half of the speedrun, I should be able to do at least 20 deaths in under 10 minutes. And with that knowledge, I went for a test run and managed 39 deaths on my first try, which is about 30% better than my previous best run on the last route. This got me super excited, and I thought, well, if I can do 39 deaths in this amount of time, let's try and shoot for 50 deaths in 1,269 seconds. And instead of explaining, let me just show you the final run I did. As soon as I exit the menu, the run starts. I run full sprint for the first game over. I dive off the edge of the cliff and watch as Link breaks his back in 4 different places, which I would assume is probably bad for your health. Now, to hopefully alleviate the inevitable comments of, "This is fake, you edited it," you people shut up, I'm going to leave you with the fully unedited run, which includes the loading screens. But instead of boring you all to death with 20 seconds of nothing, get ready for a monumental amount of dad jokes because they are my specialty. I would also love it if everyone would put their best dad jokes in the comments. I will pin the best joke to the top of the comments. Now, technically, this is not a real game over, but I still count it as a death because Link drowns in mud. I think it would be unfair to not consider this a real game over just based on a game technicality. Now, I again run from the shrine, making a beeline to the upper shelf of this ridge. I fly directly over the mud pit and land on the other side. This is where the 5 rocket shields I had prepared before this run come in handy. From here, I save my game and do my next death. Since the mud pit left me with 1 less heart, the shock fruit absolutely obliterates Link in 1 hit. Now for the age-old question. Why was Cinderella kicked from the soccer team? Well, I guess it has to do with her constantly running away from the ball. This one is kinda dumb, but it's also funny. I have a lot more of these left. I'm sorry. Following the shock fruit, I disabled Tulin because he will aimbot this Wizrobe. I have had him ruin a few of these runs before because of this. I pull out another shock fruit, and using it on Link will drop him down to 1/4 of a heart. This makes it easy for the Wizrobe to one-shot Link. And now we have our 3rd death. So the other day, I was looking after my 2 nephews. And I really wanted them to watch the orchestra with me. But unfortunately, I had to turn it off because it had too much sax and violins. Oh my god, that one was dumb. After the Wizrobe, it is time to move on to the Gloom Hands. And since I saved, I don't need to enable Tulin again. Oh yeah, and these Gloom Hands, they actually spawn in every time. So no weird RNG like the last route where no matter what I did, they wouldn't spawn in. So big improvement. From here, I land at the edge of the cliff and use another rocket shield. It doesn't get me all the way to the top, but it is close enough that I can climb up without losing much time. From here, I do a quick save and run for the Gloom Hands. The only thing I need to do is run around this big rock and they will spawn right on cue. It doesn't take long for the Gloom Hands to make quick work of Link, and with that, we now have death 5 in under 2 minutes. The other day, I was using my computer. The normal way, of course. I'm not some degenerate like some people. Somebody probably feels really called out right now. Anyway, I was noticing my computer was starting to act really slow. It wasn't making any sense. Well, I learned my computer was actually drunk because it was doing too many screenshots. Moving on past the Gloom Hands, it is time to head up to the deadly White Lionel. The only thing I need to do is run over to the edge of this cliff and use another one of my rocket shields, leaving me with 2. From there, I use Tulin's ability and land on top, making sure I do a quick save. Me and Lionels have a very rocky history. Out of pure rage recently, I have been hunting them for sport, stealing their horns and making them into powerful weapons. It has made me feel tremendously better about myself. But I guess in a roundabout way, this is my repercussions for hunting them. And now this is 6 deaths in under 2 minutes and 15 seconds. You know what? This one is actually pretty good. Did you know dogs can't see your bones, but cats scan? At this point, I am not sorry. You just get to enjoy the dad jokes. You're welcome. I have a huge list of dad jokes, although it's probably not as huge as your mom. Sorry, that one was just too easy. After getting slapped by a Lionel, I use another rocket shield and quickly fly over its head. You may have noticed that I do a double glide when using Tulin's ability. This is a little trick to make gliding much faster. I'm not sure if this works on the newer versions because I'm still on version 1.1.1. Let me know that in the comments below. The next sequence of deaths is my favorite throughout the whole run because you can gain a lot of time if you do it right. I make a quick save and disable Mr. Aimbot and try for the first game over. I used another shock fruit to drop Link's hearts. Now, unfortunately, nothing wanted to cooperate. Normally, this Aracuda is in the sky to the left, and it is normally the first death I go for, but for whatever reason, it decided to change its location on me, which is fine, so I make my way over to the Moblin and Bokoblin. The Bokoblin was the first one to act, and that is death 1 for this sequence. Now, I would have told a joke right here, but it would have felt flat and died like my social life. Instead, I need to explain something because I made a mistake. On my last save, Link was not exactly all the way on the ground. When you save the game in midair, it won't save properly, so you will end up at your last save location. Now, fortunately for me, the game was on my side and spawned me in next to the camp. This made me panic a bit, but I pushed forward and improvised based on what happened. I went straight for the next easiest death, and that was the White Moblin, which will one-shot Link. Now, this segment could have gone a lot smoother. Unfortunately, the Moblin missed its first attack, but hey, at least he wound up getting me on his second swing, stopping the timer at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Hey, did you know Peter Pan? He is just the absolute worst boxer in the history of boxers. It's because when he throws a punch, it never lands. Kind of like this joke will never land with you. Now, this next death is normally the second one I go for because it is super easy. Technically, I am supposed to fly from the top of the cliff behind me and land on the platform with all the bomb barrels on it. Instead, I make a beeline and climb up this rock right next to the platform. Now that I am up here, I pull out a fire fruit, and that is Link blown away. You know what? It is time for some trivia. Not a joke, trivia. What do you think I will do next after this last enemy camp? A, fast travel like a crazed psychopath. B, get crushed by a deranged sky debris that randomly falls out of the sky. Or C, build a hover bike with the efficiency of a Windows 98 running Elden Ring on max settings. I will let you know the answer the next game over screen. Now for the final game over at this camp, Death by Aracuda. I use a shock fruit to drop Link down to a quarter of a heart and stand on a special rock. It is in just the right position that as long as this flying idiot hones in on me properly, it will make it to me before the Moblin and Bokoblin can. And fortunately for me, that is exactly what happened. That is 10 deaths in under 4 minutes. Now the answer to the trivia question. If you guessed B, you would be wrong. The correct answer is actually C. Build a hover bike with the efficiency of a Windows 98 computer running Elden Ring on max settings. Well, let's rack up that timer, ladies and gentlemen. For my own safety, I climb back up to the spot that I was originally supposed to be in and start my search through the menu. Now, when I get in a hurry, I mess things up royally. For how nervous I was, I didn't do too bad and swing through a few wrong menus. Now, I pull out 2 fans and a steering stick and auto-build a hover bike as fast as I could. From here, I need to make a quick flight to the top of the ridge. Now, there might be faster methods of travel than this, but I am definitely not skilled enough to pull off some of those crazy movement glitches. I think it's because my fingers are too long and gangly, and it definitely has nothing to do with the fact that I am just really, really, really bad. Yes, 4 wheelies were necessary. I land right on top and do a quick save. Now, if you haven't realized yet, due to that last weird save, Tulin was not enabled. Now, instead of doing the smart thing here, I saved first before activating Tulin, meaning that after my next death, I need to reactivate him again, losing me precious time. The next death is down to a black Hinox. This one is a piece of cake and requires little effort on my end. I just stand in front of the Hinox and he takes one hand and smashes it straight on Link's head, resulting in a pancake. Link is truly Hyrule's last line of defense. This one pertains to my last video. A century ago, 2 genius brothers had a dream of the possibility of flight. And guess what? It turns out they were right. Yeah, I know that one was really dumb. But unfortunately, we can't always stick the landing. As I spawn back in, I open up the menu and enable Tulin again with some of the fastest movements I've done up to this point so far. From this spot, I now shift my focus onto a special enemy camp tucked away in the thicket of the trees. Tulin's ability, just on this spot alone, saves a lot of time, especially using that double glide movement boost. Now, this one is very easy to mess up if I miss the landing. It is best to land in a specific spot right next to the white Lizalfo to avoid the wrong enemy from killing Link. I managed to perfectly execute this landing and did a very quick save and allowed the Lizalfo to finish off Link. Trivia time. What do you think will happen next? A, jump off the tower, stumble and fall into the water, resulting in lost time because I'm an idiot. Option B, jump off the tower and have a perfectly executed landing, saving time. Or option C, jump off the tower, land perfectly, then immediately get body slammed by a deranged sky debris, causing massive amounts of brain damage to Link. You got your answer yet? 3, 2, 1. If you chose option B, you would be correct. If it was any other time, option A would have been the correct choice. This was actually the first run. I didn't mess this part up. From here, we move on to another super easy game over. I climb up this rock face and do a quick save. I then stumble to pull out another shock fruit and again drop Link down to a quarter of a heart. I then walk in a straight line and pop! Link gets straight up smashed by a chest Octorok, sending him into his next life. A pair of cows are in a field together, having a fantastic time eating some tasty grass. One cow says, "Hey, have you heard about the mad cow disease that has been going around?" "Yeah, I have heard about it," says the other cow. "Makes me glad that I'm a penguin." I could have done a your mom joke here, but I digress. Moving past Octorok, we now head for a Talus. And surprise! I use another shock fruit to drop Link's health because this Talus will not one-shot Link. It takes the Talus time to awaken from its rock bed. Is that what you would call it? Or would it be a dirt nap? Whatever. Let me know what you would call it in the comments below. This one's gonna be really stupid, and you might not get it at all. A priest, a minister, a saint, and a rabbit walk into a blood bank. The rabbit walks up to the desk and says, "I believe I am a typo." That was a hardcore dad joke. From here, we move to the most RNG part of this whole speed run, death by horse. Also, yes, I used another shock fruit. You should be used to it by now. For whatever reason, horses never want to cooperate. And this is where precious time can be lost. It's almost like they're wild or something. Thankfully, this group of horses always spawn in the same exact location and are trapped from running around too much thanks to the geography of the landscape. It makes it much easier for this game over to occur. Now, we all know sneaking is the only way to get close enough to a horse. In order for this game over to be successful, I need to position Link on the right or left-hand side of the animal. Unfortunately, they did spook this time. The only saving grace was this tree, but it was also my worst enemy. The horse was smacking the tree instead of me. Not sure how this is happening, but whatever. I adjust my position and Link gets blasted with a hoof to the face. The inventor of cough drops unfortunately passed away last week. I heard from a friend that there was no coffin at his funeral service. I bet everyone was suppressing their emotions. Yeah, that one was also dumb. Moving on past game over number 15, can you guess what's next? You should have seen the little fella sitting up on the ridge sneezing lightning like Zeus after eating Taco Bell. If you haven't guessed it yet, it's the Gleeok. I know there's a much faster way than running over to the cliff, and next time I do this speedrun, I will incorporate that faster method, but for now, this will have to do. I make my way past the horses and up to the cliff, where my final rocket shield will come in handy. I boost Link up and make sure, once I land, to do a quick save. I then aggravate the Gleeok with an arrow and watch as the onslaught of electricity comes Link's way. I walk directly into the beams, and that is game over number 16. So a few days ago, I learned about a very important fact that I would like to share with you. When you're out on a lake in a canoe and it flips over, you can wear it safely on your head because it's capsized. This next game over also involves the Gleeok. As most of you should know by now, Thunder Gleeoks, when aggravated, cause a lightning storm. So this next part is really easy. I again shoot the Gleeok, but this time I run over to the edge of this cliff and jump off. I am now guaranteed to be struck by lightning. Once I am on the ground, I do a quick save, and I am now ready to get sneezed on by some lightning. It doesn't take very long, and now we have Popcorn Link. Man, can you imagine the smell? It would have to be rancid. Conspiracy theorist was struck by lightning. Coincidence? Sorry. I'm sorry. Following my terrible attempt at trying to sound like a person who was struck by lightning, we move on to getting struck in the head with logs. For this to work, I want to fuse 2 logs together, but instead of that happening, I fused a log with a sail, so yeah. I moved around, losing me a bit of time. I fused the other 2 logs together, and can you guess what I do next? Yep, another shock fruit. I then use Ultra Hand to lift up the logs high enough and then place them back down on the ground. This is an important step because in order for this game over to work, recall is the only option. I use recall to allow the logs to get high enough up and then bonk Link in the head. A question came to me when I was in the shower. Why did the old man fall down the well? This took me a while to figure out, but I truly believe it's because he couldn't see that well. Well, good thing Timmy's grandpa finally found him. Although it's a bit unfortunate they are well dead by now. This is the last game over before we fast travel. Forcing Link to commit Ocean Gate. Yeah, I'm not sorry for that one. Draining Link's stamina can be a bit tricky because the timing is really weird. If done correctly, Link will instantly drown. But If done wrong, this will happen, causing the stamina bar to increase. Unfortunately, I missed the window by an absolute mile, losing me a few seconds of time. And with that, we have game over number 19. From here, I fast traveled to the Sitsum Shrine on top of Death Mountain. Yeah, I pronounced that wrong probably. I'm going to rack up penalty time for using this during the speed run, but it is a necessary evil for everything to play out in the correct manner. I now have to find a way to perish 31 times in different ways in the time span of 11 minutes and 15 seconds. To put that into perspective, on average, that would be a game over every 21 seconds, which should be easy enough. Now that I have arrived on Death Mountain, I am hyper-focused towards the next game over, which is by Gloom. I use Tulin's ability and mess up trying to climb like a monkey who sniffed too much cocaine. I managed to get back on track quickly and make it up to the Gloom, where I waited for Link's eventual demise. Game over number 20. Now for the other 30. So my girlfriend came home the other day. As if. Emotional, damn it. I'm so lonely. With my coping mechanism right in front of me, I make a pursuit down to a very special spot, where I will light a blaze of passion. Goron Point, or G-Spot for short. Using the same double glide method with Tulin's ability, it won't be long before I reach a point of no return. I dive down deeper in hopes of speeding up the process. Tulin's ability is again ready, and I do another double glide, knocking off time. And I stick the landing. I do a quick save and start fumbling through the menus looking for some wood and flint. Thankfully, I have my inventory mostly memorized, and it doesn't take me too long to find what I need to build a campfire with. I try my best to instantly drop the items and strike them with the Master Sword, creating the setup for my next game over. I position Link onto the fire and watch as he roasts alive. Could you imagine how this would feel being cooked alive? Two sandwiches walk into a family-owned coffee shop on their first date. Oh, how cute. They wait to be seated. A few minutes go by and the hostess walks up and says to the couple, "Sorry, but we don't serve food here." Now it is time to get serious. In this tiny location, there's 4 game overs that need to occur within just 2 minutes. The first game over is by the head of a Stalnox. And thanks to my expert calculation skills, I mapped out the optimal time to start this run, so it would be night when I got here, and definitely wasn't just pure luck. The Stalnox made quick work of Link with its head. Lenny the Rope is worn out after a long day working on horseback. and hopes to reinvigorate his stamina, he walks into a bar. The place goes silent as his unusual stature baffles everyone. The bartender speaks up and says, "Hey, we don't serve ropes here." Yeah, I did 2 of those types of jokes back to back. Please don't think less of me. Now, this is a pretty easy part to mess up, and that is exactly what I did. For one, my brain just flew out and went south for the winter. Do you remember me saying when I get in a hurry, I forget things? That's what I did in this situation. I was really good up until this point of using a certain trusty item that drops Link's hearts down to a quarter. Did I use one? No. But not only that, when I arrived at the tiny talus, it was supposed to smack Link and kill him in one shot. It only dropped him down to a quarter. And the cherry on top of that, it wasn't the talus that finished off Link. It was Red Choo Choo. This segment could have gone much smoother. Last night when I got into bed, I started reading. It helps me go to sleep, okay? If you're curious about the book, I was reading volume 4 of Danmachi. That's besides the point. I just wanted to say I slept like a baby last night. I woke up every 2 hours crying. Since the Red Choo Choo stole what was supposed to be the Tiny Talus's game over, I need to retry this again. It doesn't necessarily affect anything because technically the Red Choo's game over was intended for after the Talus. They just decided to flip roles. Oh yeah. Do you think my brain started to work again? Yeah, no. It only worked halfway. When I landed down by the Tiny Talus, again a Red Choo spawned, so I executed it right on the spot. I didn't need that interference again. But something still slipped my mind. The shock fruit. Honestly, why am I this dumb? So yesterday I was reading the local newspaper. Yes, they still exist. Anyway, as I was reading, an article caught my attention. Apparently, there was a kidnapping in my local park yesterday. There was a bunch of loud screams from the other kids. Surprisingly, he never woke up. It turns out the kid was deaf. Now we move on to a falling rock. Dwayne the Falling Rock Swanson. Sorry for the cringe. The location for this next one is just on the other side of where that tiny talus was. Now this method is exactly the same as getting struck by a tree. The reason I can't just pick up a rock and drop it on Link's head using Ultra Hand has to do with an interesting game mechanic that doesn't allow you to take damage after moving an object with this ability. So this is why I have to use this convoluted method with Ultra Hand and Recall. I think there is a workaround if the object touches the ground, then hits Link, but this way is more reliable. And with that game over, we have reached the halfway point at 25. Now, it might seem like I am way behind, but trust me, as soon as I make it to the next location, the other 25 are going to go lightning fast. The next sequence is the hardest part, and could be considered the easiest part. It just depends on what you define as easy. From here, I move on to the next location, which is a tunnel into a fairly big cavern. You could refer to it as a secret tunnel through the mountains. If you got that reference, we are now best friends. If not, that's rough, buddy. Not everybody can understand how painful it is for your girlfriend to turn into the moon. Maybe you should just become a cabbage merchant and live a peaceful life reaping insurance money from Bossing Say. Anyway, this next short segment is stacked with 3 game overs within just 45 seconds. Each one will occur once I am inside the cave. The really cool thing about this exact location is I don't need to worry about saving the game. It will auto-save me just outside of the cave, which gains me extra time for more game overs. Now, Link is suffering from his whole body getting cooked from the outside in. How do you all like your Link cooked? Personally, I would prefer medium. Just like my old pal Sokka would say, I'm just a guy who likes comedy and sarcasm, which is why I'm going to be a bit philosophical to change it up a bit. In life, some days you will be like a pigeon. Other days, you will be the statue. Life is truly full of disappointments, and I'm glad I could add you to the list. Please don't hate me. It's not a brick, so don't take it so hard. The next game over is just as easy as the last. I run down into the cavern and head for some lava. This Link will be fried with the precision of Gordon Ramsay making grilled cheese. If you have never watched Gordon Ramsay make grilled cheese, spoiler, it's burnt. A really terrible thing happened last week. On Main Street, my buddy owned a bakery. But unfortunately, it burnt down. His business is now toast. Now we head for the final game over in this cave. I open up the menu and put on some heat protective gear. This is important so Link doesn't cook. I now need to aggravate the Horriblins that are in this cave, which is easy enough. I head over to the white Horriblin, who should split Link in half, making this game over really easy. True story, I was out at the beach with my family enjoying a nice Saturday evening when I suddenly noticed somebody out in the water who looked like a hippie struggling to swim. I yelled over at the lifeguard tower, "Hey, someone is struggling to swim out there." The lifeguard then pulled up his binos and said, "He's too far out, man." That was the dumbest one so far, and I am not sorry about it. This next game over, I got extremely lucky on. As I was in pursuit of the boss Bokoblin, this blue Bokoblin came out of left field and smacked Link. Now, if that Bokoblin managed to one-shot Link, this whole run would have been forfeit. Thankfully, that did not happen this run, and now we have game over number 29. Remember when I said things will get hectic? Well, the next 21 game overs are about to happen in quick succession, pretty much back to back in the span of 7 minutes. What do you call it when you feed a bomb to a bull? A bomb in a bowl. Oh my god, this is dumb. Get ready for some menu fumbling because I'm about as precise as Stevie Wonder trying to put ketchup on his hamburger. The next 3 game overs are going to be by different kinds of gems. Now, this might be kind of cheap, but it still fits in with the rules. As long as the game over is different, it still classifies. Do you all remember Lenny the Rope? Well, after getting denied service, Lenny walks out of the bar and ties himself to a hitching post and unravels one of his ends into a frayed up mess. He then unties himself and walks back into the bar. In a slightly different voice, Lenny says, "Beer, please." The bartender, stunned, says, "Aren't you the rope that was just in here?" Lenny replies, "I'm afraid not." The next gem is a sapphire, and this time I am much better at not fumbling through the menus. I am so skilled, in fact, that I land directly on the sapphire. One day, an English teacher spouted off to her students in a sarcastic manner. If there are any idiots in the room, would they please stand up? A few students looked around in the room, curious if anyone would stand. Then suddenly, a student stood up. The teacher smiles and said, "Now, why do you consider yourself an idiot?" The student's eyes lit up like fireworks, and with a grin growing rapidly on his face, "Well, actually, I don't," said the student. "I just hate to see you standing up there all by yourself." If you haven't noticed, look at how quick I am with the menus. I even land directly on the topaz. You know what? I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. With that, we have game over number 32. You know what? If you manage to stick around this long, I'm going to insert a shameless plug like all the other YouTubers do within the first 30 seconds of their video. You should definitely subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, maybe consider joining the good old Discord channel, where I plan on doing some game nights with my viewers in the near future. Anyway, shameless pug over. Yes, you heard me right. I said pug. This next game over will be a palate cleanser. I need to run over to a special spot that has time bomb barrels. Now, the best thing about this location, I don't have to do anything other than stand in one spot, because this moblin will lob a barrel right at Link. Now, all we have to do is wait for the barrel's timer to count down. And there goes Link's ability to walk. You can't save Hyrule if you don't have legs. About 3 months ago, this really beautiful girl moved in next door to me. We have the occasional conversation here and there, but recently, I have noticed that she's been stalking me. I saw her searching my name up on Google when I was peeking into her bedroom window. This is a joke. I'm not some sociopath. It's sarcasm. You just have to figure out what part. Now we move on to what should be the easiest game overs. The first one will be with a white chew jelly. And amazingly enough, my brain cannot connect the dots. I am still managing to fumble through the menus like a god. Yes, I forgot the shock fruit. I know. Any quality speedrunner by now would have clicked off the video. Although, if you are still here, I am sure you are laughing at all my miserable attempts to do anything quickly. Maybe a certain crow is pointing out my mistakes. I bet a goldfish could probably do better than me. I mean, it plays Elden Ring better than me, so I wouldn't deny that fact. Following the white chew, I move on to the time bomb. Don't confuse this with the time bomb barrel. They are completely different, but achieve the same goal. Now, at this point, I don't even know what is going on in my head. I know better. I know that a time bomb will not one-shot Link, but here we are. This is where I turn into a mess. My nerves are getting the best of me. Hopefully, I can clean up my act because I don't want to fail this late in the game. With that said, this is game over 35 with 5 minutes left on the clock. With 15 left to achieve what I have set out to complete, this is definitely doable as long as I don't make any more simple mistakes. So how do trees access the internet? They log in. Have you ever watched somebody drop a cooking pot on Link's head before? Well, if not, you are about to. Oh, would you look at that? It seems like the cogs in my brain have finally decided to turn. I again have to use that convoluted method with Ultra Hand and Recall, but I have done this enough that I should manage to do this in one go. And you are probably going to see me use this method a lot more for the next few game overs, so I'm sorry about that. And with that, we have death number 36. So I was today years old when I learned that vampires are not real. Unless you count Dracula. That one was so cheesy. You know what? Dracula is allowed to suck my toes. Huh? Carts are one of the most versatile Zonai items that nobody uses because the hoverbike was invented, making all other forms of transportation useless. I won't deny the fact because the hoverbike is the only thing I use anymore. But that doesn't mean the cart is entirely useless. It works surprisingly well as an execution device. I am sure this was the intended use by the developers. Since I'm a blonde-headed guy, how about some blonde jokes? We all know how stupid blondes can be. I mean, you just witnessed 33 minutes of me being a fool, and everything probably makes a lot more sense now. So yesterday, I pulled out some orange juice out of the fridge, and I stared at it for hours. because it said concentrate. So, did you know the Zonai sled is actually the abbreviation of its real name, the sled hammer? Yeah, similar to the cart, the sled hammer is also a perfect device for breaking one's neck. It was used a long time ago by the first king of Hyrule. It was said he used it to destroy his enemies. But in an unfortunate turn of events, this hot dude named Ganon turned this device against him. You know what? Maybe I should become a Hyrule historian. You realize I said all that just to distract you from the fact that I'm being an absolute buffoon right here? Did you hear about the blonde couple that was found frozen inside of their car at a drive-in movie theater? Yeah, they went to see Closed for the winter. That one kind of hurts. There would have been an awkward silence right here if I didn't put this in here, so hello, hi, I'm slowly losing my sanity. It's so great. Sorry, I lost my cool for a second. This next game over is by Canon. Can none of these nuts fit in your mouth? Yeah, I'm not sorry about that. It was worth it. I'm not sure if any of you have noticed just how good I am at using shock fruits. Oh, wait. Never mind. It must be Monkey Monday or something. Eventually, there will come a time when I start screaming at my past self for the mistakes I make. If you were an idiot yesterday, make today's self less of an idiot. That was words of wisdom by TJ. Oh, wait. I forgot I was blonde. It always leads back to when I was born. Why are blonde jokes so short? So they can remember them. This one really pertains to me. This one really hurts, actually. This next game over is really shocking. So shocking, it is enough to make your heart stop, boil your blood, cause skunk hair. This is why you don't commit treason. Oh, it shouldn't be shocking to anyone. I forgot the shock fruit. You know what? I have been really hard on my past self. As the narrator, I'm going to make an executive decision. Let's start rooting for my past self doing this speed run, because that is game over number 40 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. That only leaves me with 17 seconds per game over to achieve my goal of 50. If there's one thing I enjoy a lot, it is watching things burn. So for game over 41, I am cranking up the heat. Wait, did I just grab a frost emitter and a flame emitter? Okay, never mind. I am revoking what I said earlier about my past self being good, you know, smart and whatever, being nice to my past self. This guy needs therapy. Wait, wouldn't that mean I need therapy? You know what? Never mind. I am revoking what I just said again, and I'm reinstating what I said earlier about my past self. I am too hard on him. Wow. Maybe I do need therapy. Honestly, I think if I went to therapy, my therapist would need his own therapist after listening to me. Who knows? You might need your own therapist after watching this video. Game over number 42 is by Beam Emitter. And you know what? Give my past self a round of applause because, dang, that was pretty fast. Now I just need to figure out how to replicate this speed for all the other game overs. You know what? I just found out how a single blonde's brain cell dies. Alone. Yeah, this doesn't make me feel better about myself. With 8 left to go, it's crunch time. Basically, me fumbling through the menus. I am sure you get the point by now. I think this will be the 5th different way Link has exploded this run. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if I woke up tomorrow with a Nintendo lawyer at my doorstep serving me papers for a lawsuit. At this point, when does this become a felony? Because Link has suffered catastrophic injuries at my hands for your enjoyment. For my own safety and my family's financial safety, Nintendo, that is not an open invitation to sue me. Please, please don't. I have games to buy and needless calculus classes in college to pay for because the school is forcing me to. Why? Well, I guess I apparently need Calculus 3 to complete wildlife biology. Just makes total sense. You know, Link in this situation is perfect symbolism for my money. Anyways, sorry to bring down the mood. Let's just flip this around and put a smile back on everyone's face. So here the past year, we have been having our groceries delivered straight to the house every week. I always make sure to put milk on the list so Dad never leaves. Come on, that one was good. You have to laugh for that one. That one was good. It seems I have calmed down a bit and remembered to use the shock fruit because game over number 45 is by Ice Emitter. Thankfully, I remembered it will not one-shot Link, so give my past self another round of applause. What a guy. You smart brainiac. You glad that blonde hair didn't stop you this time. So I have 6 uncles. I get along with them all really well. David, Scott, Jason, Phil, Chuck, and the other one works at Nintendo. Let me tell you, I have seen Nintendo's next system, and it's going to be a powerhouse. He sent me a video of the demo, and let me tell you, your mind is going to be blown away. Am I being sarcastic? Maybe, or maybe not. Would you look at that? I use another shock fruit. Game over number 46 is by Red Chew Jelly. It seems I am right on track to hit my goal. Even more surprising is I might actually undercut the time limit. The only thing that would ruin this run is if something catastrophic happened. Like, I don't know, maybe a stray bokoblin sneaks over and snipes Link with a bow, causing the whole thing to come crashing down and I go cry myself to sleep. Yeah, that doesn't happen. I am only joking. Maybe. You might have noticed I was getting desperate at finding ways to make Link game over. This was why I resorted to using items in my inventory. I mean, as long as it fits within the basic guidelines, there is not an issue, but it might seem a little cheap given the fact that Link game overs to the same element multiple times, but it's caused by different items. I would love some suggestions on some workarounds for this so I don't feel so dirty. Still, it's not as dirty as your mom. Wait, did you guys hear something? What was that? Huh? With game over number 47 behind us, let's move on to number 48, which is literally the same Lizalfo horn, but a different element. See what I mean by this kind of feeling just a little bit cheap with this game over, but you know what? I digress. It doesn't matter. It's okay. We now move on to the last two with only a minute 15 seconds left on the clock. Now, as I remember right, game over number 48 was a massive relief off of my shoulders. I know for a fact that I am close to having this in the bag. I bet you could only imagine the emotions running through my head at this point. Although it is not over yet because a lot of mistakes can happen in just a short time frame. Speaking of short, how does it feel to be short? Is it like warm down there being closer to hell? I heard that Attack on Titan is like a slice of life for you. Don't hate me. I'm just poking fun. Don't hurt me. Don't break my kneecaps. I don't mean it. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Game over number 49. We only have one more to go. It has truly been a journey for me, and I hope it has been a journey for you as well. If you managed to stick around this long, make sure you comment pineapple. It will be really funny. Trust me, just fill the comment section up with pineapple. It will confuse all the people who did not watch me blabber for 43 minutes straight. Also, I love you for watching to the end. You have no idea how hard it is for one guy to produce all of this. Join the Discord where I can express my thanks to you. And with that said, we now move on to game over number 50, the Like Stone. It takes me a hot minute to find this bad boy in the really intuitive menu system that the Zelda team has crafted. Thanks for that. I blaze through it as fast as I can, and I pull out the Fire Like Stone, sending Link down to 1/4 of a heart. I pull out another one as fast as I could, and there it is, number 50 and under the set time frame, cutting it by 50 seconds. Here's my direct reaction to what I just accomplished. Oh my god, I just did that. Holy crap. Oh wow. As you can tell, there's 10 tries on this whole speed run, and oh wow. Holy crap, I just did that. I just got freaking 50 deaths in 21 minutes and 15 seconds. Actually, a little under that. You have no idea how long I've been working on this and how hard I've tried to freaking do this. This has taken me a long time. Like, I bet I spent probably a week just working on this whole speed run, and finally, I freaking did it. You know what? With a little bit better efficiency, I think 65 is possible.